this view.
All right.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Tonight's live conversation is with the Federation of Vegan Festivals, a coalition of Black-led vegan organizations building community and culture across the country through plant-based events. I'm Callie, founder of More Than 3/5, and I'm proud to be your host for tonight, especially since we prepare for this weekend's event, Black VegFest in Brooklyn on Saturday, August 9th at Lincoln Terrace Park. Tonight, you'll hear from the brilliant organizers behind some of the most impactful vegan festivals across the U.S., all doing this work not just for the food, but for the freedom, the healing, the joy that our community deserves. So let me introduce everybody one by one here. First, we have Amawale. He is the founder and the visionary behind Black VegFest, community organizer, author, and founder of Liberation Farm. So please welcome Amawale.
Thank you for having me.
Next up, we have Adrienne. She is our next leading voice out of Texas, all the way down south there. Plant-based movement, bringing powerful wellness, food, and family together. Say hello to Adrienne Luss of Texas VegFest. Next, we have Naijha Brown from the Vegan Soul Fest, a media powerhouse and plant-based entrepreneur who always uses her platform to uplift the community. You can catch her on her podcasts. So give it up for Naijha Wright, co-creator of the Vegan Soul Fest and so much more down in Maryland. And Naima, the Veggie Fest. She's representing Atlanta's plant-based legacy in the upcoming Veggie Taste Festival this September. Please welcome Naima.
Hey to you.
And we also, there we go. We have Richard as well here. So Richard, he is our Philly Veg Fest. He's holding down Philly, thriving the vegan scene, and showing up for the community in a major way. Meet Richard Rogers of the Philly Veg Fest.
Hear anybody?
Woo!
Philly, what's up?
I am so happy to have all of you powerful people in one room. I guess my first question is, what inspired you to launch or lead your various festivals? I don't know who wants to go first, but that was the question.
I'm gonna let Amawale go first.
Okay. Well, I definitely saw in our community different vegan festivals that I would attend. Didn't really have our community represented. Now, it doesn't mean that we didn't show up at these vegan festivals, because we definitely have been there. We definitely have been vegan or ITAL or practicing a Hemster, or just leaving animals alone, being plant-based. But we really didn't have any of our issues, and we couldn't put together many of the unapologetically Black political issues that affect our health. We don't get to really talk about that enough in terms of loss of land and how that's connected to our food. That we're losing food, we're losing valuable land just to grow our food, to create safety as well within our community. And why isn't it connected to police brutality when we also talk about exploitation of animals? We need to be talking about this system under colonialism. So that really inspired me, in 2013. But it took all the way to 2018 for our organization, which operates horizontally, to allow me to actually put that into play, because it takes more than one person to make things happen on this end, and in general, I think, so that made me move.
Well, that's a powerful reason to start a festival. Seriously. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna just piggyback off of Omawale. When we started Vegan Soul Fest, it was for the same reason, not seeing the cultural display of veganism through Black lens, Latino lens, multicultural lenses. So we had to work on bringing Vegan Soul Fest to the inner city of Baltimore, not the outskirts, but right smack dead in the city, so that the people that really need this information had access to it.
That's powerful. All of you guys had similar reasons. What about the rest of you guys?
My reason is somewhat of that, but just looking at how the rates are of diabetes, stroke, like pick a disease in the Black community, and the myth that eating vegan or plant-based the food is nasty and it's expensive. So just to be an educational tool for everybody to see that it's not expensive, it doesn't taste nasty, it tastes like better than bad food with meat. So that was more of my inspiration, just to show people like, hey, you can do this. You got this cancer, all of these diseases, like let it go. You got to eat to prevent. Eat your medicine so you can prevent whatever is what's out there.
Yeah, similar here in Philadelphia. When we started, we had nothing really happening. There were a couple years before I got involved with VegFest that they had one, but that went away. I took it over. But like Naima was just saying, the incidences of these unnecessary diseases, people just didn't know. And I got tired of watching people just continue to eat, continue to poison themselves, continue to poison family and friends without the knowledge. And in Philadelphia, there also wasn't really a platform that was supporting the Black community with a Veg Fest. And, we don't call it Black Veg Fest, but if you come and you see my program and you see that it's Black and BIPOC leaning, and that's exactly what I want it to be. I need to see people who look like me, sound like me, and are coming from the same background as me, learning this information. We absolutely need it.
Nice. Yeah, spreading the word is very powerful. And what about down in Texas? What inspired you to launch your festival?
Well, Texas is the top cattle producing state in the nation, and with that comes the top CO2 emission state. We also have high diabetes, obesity, heart disease is the #1 killer in the state. So, and of course, what communities do they affect the most? Black and brown communities. While we were speaking about land and farming, who in Texas are working these farms and, getting, poor treatment, no health care, and are affected, Black and brown communities. So it hits real hard here in Texas for a number of reasons. And so we wanted to provide a free space for people to learn about the health, environmental, and animal benefits of vegan diets across the spectrum, because we really are hitting. We're #1 and not for good reasons here in the state of Texas. So we wanted to provide a safe space for everyone to come and learn and commune and to get free resources on how to change that.
Okay. Well, I'm learning a lot about the festivals across the country. One question I had was just across the board with everybody. How do you center Black and brown culture into your events beyond just the food? Is that something that's done just across the board at all festivals?
I would say every festival has its unique personality. And I've been to several Black-led BIPOC vegan festivals, and there weren't many when we jump started Vegan Soul Fest in 2014. There weren't. I don't know if anybody was really doing it on that level. But when people started to come out with their festivals, you would see it brought different personalities in relation to the founders or the teams that were organizing those festivals. So today you can go to different BIPOC Black-led festivals, vegan festivals, and you're going to see a totally different personality, totally different team. Black VegFest isn't the same as Vegan Soul Fest, isn't the same as Philly VegFest, isn't the same as Texas or Veggie Taste. Everybody has their own personality. It's like a living, sentient being, these festivals.
True.
I love the living creature thing because exactly how I describe it to you. It is a whole unique living creature. Exactly. Yes.
So I know that in all cases, everybody's celebrating their festival on a certain day. How do you guys keep the energy up in the community throughout the year across the country?
That's a great question.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no,
Veggie Takes.
for me, mine is always the same. It's the same third Saturday. So when people see me, they be like, the festival's coming up, right? It's in September, right? And I'm like, yep, remember the third Saturday. So I always do it like the same time because I do it to honor my father. His birthday is on that September 20th. So that's why it's always the same time. Got you.
So this year is special.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We really try to organize ours around different festivals. I know with Vegan Soul Fest, I think, we had confusion, but, before it makes sure that we, basically don't bump on there because we want folks especially our community, to be able to hit both of ours. Baltimore, and Brooklyn, about 4 hours, away. So we definitely want folks to be able to hit, both festivals. But we do ours on the second Saturday, August. We do ours in Black August to honor these are Black political prisoners. Right now, Kamal Siddiqui is locked up. When we say, Black August, and so even, folks in terms of my organization, wanted us to definitely, raise that up, especially we're going to be talking about Black August, because Black August does come from, and we talk about it, it stems from, Black political prisoners, even folks like Sada Shakur, that was freed, and they got $2 million bounty, still on her head. She's the #1 person right now. She's 77 years old, and Cuban asylum, and a lot of these folks, they raise their level. When we talk about the politics, like the different organizations that I've been, whether we talk about, in terms of the vegan culture, or we're talking about, the politics in our community. For over 20 years, I've been in these communities, and I can tell you, when we raise our political consciousness, we raise our consciousness in terms of food and how we eat. So those have always been together. I've always known that, and so when I come into whether we talking about the Uhuru movement, or we talking about Malcolm X grassroots movement, the consciousness is going to be raised, but also the food level is also going to be raised in our community, and that's virtually pretty much universal, in our community.
Nice. Go ahead.
When we started Vegan Soul Fest in 2014, it was in October. So, that kind of starts the fall season, or the fall season has begun. And then that's because it was a table conversation. And then 4 months later, we got this event that we've produced. The following year, we tried the summer. That's when it started becoming August, the third weekend in August. August is very hot. It's like beaming hot, and then that's like one of the major challenges that we've always faced with the festival, August being very hot. And then one year we tried the first weekend in August or something like that, and that's what you were referring to, Omawale, when we were trying to figure out what dates and not to step on each other's toes. And then we went back to the third weekend in August, and it's just always hot, so the logistic, like, Vegan Soul Fest has grown beyond the organizers. Like, it is just in its own another universe. And this year we're collaborating with Black VegFest, sharing, the talents that we put into Vegan Soul Fest, and I believe this is working. It's working for now. We'll see what the future holds for 2026. But right now, this is where we are until we can figure out the logistical challenge, how to overcome it, because it has grown. We had about 15,000 plus people in 2023 in a hot summer, and it was a lot. It's a lot for everybody.
Yeah.
Wow. I love how you guys are working together. How did this partnership, how did this federation start? How did y'all meet at a convention? Tell me about it.
Wale down there. Wale.
Wale, did you start everything? Did you start this federation over here?
I mean, I utilize my organizing background, to really connect. I get more when I work with other people. And I think that sometimes that's hard for people to do. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean like you don't get harmed or get burned. You know what I'm saying? I'm not without burn marks. You know what I mean? But I know right now, I know very easily, like we call folks, we'll be like, yo, we need free food, you know what I mean, for our presenters. And we need free food, for our volunteers. We're going to get that. You know what I mean? Why? Because that work, like, they see me. That's over a track record. A particular amount of time. 5 years ain't gonna be enough. Maybe 10 years ain't gonna be enough. You know what I mean? But if they done seen you consistently, then it's like, well, it's a less chance that I'm gonna get burned by this person or whatever. And sometimes people burn you by accident, like they don't mean to. You know what I mean? So it's like in our community, we teach unity. You have to teach unity. We say unity, right? Like it's an easy word, right? But it's hard to really do. It really is hard to do. You have to really give out olive branches. You know what I'm saying? It's abilities and needs. And so everybody on here, you know what I mean? It's like been connected, with for what we talking about years, now. Naima, like
okay, so y'all known each other for a long time.
You know what I mean? So it's just a bunch of years. Adrian, I've been speaking in since 2013, several times, definitely at Philly VegFest, Naijha, you know what I mean, from Vegan Soul Fest, they supported Black VegFest from the get, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's give and take, it's always, you're constantly building and you don't always have something to give. So definitely I reached out to, to folks that I felt like was real. Are there more people? Like, yeah, but I like to build a relationship. Like it take time to really like build those connections. And so this is a solid group, it's really a real solid group. So.
No, that's amazing. That story about how everybody came together like that. Like I love the networking, the teamwork, and everybody coming together. Does anybody have anything to add?
Yeah. Wale is like my big brother. So I just wanted, like, when he started the Black VegFest, you got darn right I was gonna be out there. New York is my hometown. I had to be there support, and he just became like my official brother from another mother.
Yeah, I love what Omawale was saying about the building, and I like with Laugh, he said unity. It's an easy word, but it takes time. And those of you who were at Philly VegFest, I talked before every presenter went up and just emphasized how these are all people that have come from building relationships over time. And you will rarely see anybody on my stage that has not come about that way. There's just a give and take. There's a trust. There's a knowing. So it feels like you have family up there on the stage. But I remember my first visit to Black VegFest. It was, I don't know if I told you, Omawale, I was out on the sidewalk and somebody said, there's that Philly VegFest guy. And they whisked me into a room and they said, Omawale will be here in a second. And when I looked around, there was every person in that room I was coming there to meet that day. Dr. Mills was in there. Gray was in there.
Wow.
What's her name was there? I'm sorry, I cannot remember her first name. But the pizza, the raw pizza. Who's our sister with the wonderful raw pizza? She was not in the room, but she was right across from it. And then Omawale showed up. We did our shirt swap, and man, it just started from there. It was just like a roller coaster. We just kept going.
I have known Omawale since
all the time.
What'd you say?
I said I wear these shirts all the time. I wear y'all shirts like regularly. I'm telling you.
I just met Richard this year and went up to Philly Veg Fest for the very first time. I had never been to Philly Veg Fest ever. And we built a relationship up there.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And I was at your event, the last one you had. I didn't get to meet you, but I was there. And Omar Wally said, "You got to meet Naijha." He told me that day. And
so all of y'all known each other in some kind of way over the years and built this team together. I think that's amazing. The Federation of Vegan Festival, that just sounds powerful in itself. Like, what's the future of the Federation of Vegan Festivals? What do you guys see yourselves in the next 5 years?
I think doing more collaborative events together. I would say.
Exactly, Naima, because I'm already like that ATL thing. I gotta spend some time down here building with y'all.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's especially imperative right now with just everything going on politically, like that we strengthen the communal bonds. It's, especially around food sovereignty, food resources, land. It's really important that we connect all of these resources that each of us have, the passion that each of us will have, the desire to provide this really instrumental resource to people right now that are really seeking it. It's I think really important that we're doing this right now. It's a really, really important time.
I agree with Adrian because my sister lives in Texas. She's in San Antonio area. Austin's not that far. And I'm already thinking I got to have my calendar set for Texas, ATL, Philly, Brooklyn. Omawale knows I'm always at Black Veg Fest if I'm available. So that's New York. When I have an opportunity to get to New York, I'm getting to New York. So I'm already 2026. What's this going to look like?
Yep.
I'm right there with you.
Yep.
That's the priority. I already know where I'm going to be on September 20 and whatever date we have for Texas next April, already there. That's the beauty of it. We can count on each other. I've worked with some other veg fests, we'll say they were non-BIPOC, but there wasn't a dependability quality there. These people were in, out, get what they needed and gone. Here, we're just worried about making sure all our events are doing what they need to do and making sure and worried about, are we all covered? What do you need? And that's a beautiful thing. It doesn't always come with authenticity, but it's here in this group. So I just see that growing in the future as we continue to share resources and possibly bring others into this fold too. Love it.
Right. I look forward to, being at the Veggie Taste, September 20th. So as soon as we finish with Black Veg Fest, we're already talking about how do we uplift, the Veggie Taste. And then right after that, I know next on the calendar is going to be Texas Veg Fest. There's going to be, just everybody, we just putting all of the support there. And then hopefully, we're working more together to handle those things. And obviously, when it comes to our particular festival, the folks are going to pilot, how they're going to pilot. But we're always going to be collectively, being wing people, to kind of hold it down, to make sure that they stay afloat. So that's our goal, I believe.
I love it. Until Callie comes back, I guess the next question would be, what do we need to take what do you think we need to take our festivals individually to another level and collectively?
Funding, first of all.
we need
money.
Words right out of my mouth. Yep, number one.
I think the fund's going to come. We got to get the people. Yeah. We get the people. We get more of the people. Because at the end of the day, when we do events, we know the two things that we always need. We promote it for people, and we looking for money, right? People. Right. But even if we had just the money, we'd be I don't feel fulfilled. Because the people not coming to our stuff, right? So, but if we had a whole lot of people and then we don't have the money, we still feel as, you know, that there might be an issue, you know what I mean? But I think that the people rallying around and then helping, you know, folks to really learn about like what kind of situation, you know, we're in, because we definitely need funds. And so even as especially as a free you know, festival, you know, we're gonna be asking people, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, you know, help us survive, help us make sure that we pay for these things. You know, the festival is not free, you know what I mean? And as a founder, like, we don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? The executive director doesn't get paid. There's nobody on the board. There's none of the organizers. You know what I mean? So everybody is essentially is a volunteer. So we have to communicate that to the community. And the community can take that, can understand that, can recognize how that works. You know, they pay rent. You know what I mean? They got bills. You know what I'm saying? You know, so
you bring up a good point about, you know, that the event is not free. You know, people going to the event, registering to the event, they know it's free for them to come in, but they don't understand the cost that is getting. Me and Omawale go back and forth because Vegan Soul Fest has been a paid event for the past 2 years, or in 2022 and 2023, coming back out of COVID, because of the fact the cost of doing things the way the organizers wanted to do them. It was like, okay, you got to pay for this because we got to fly people in, we got to pay people to present and all this stuff, and you headliners, the music fest now, all of this, making those decisions. Like, what are all of your thoughts on it? Because there are pros and there are cons to it. I mean, we were able to get 15,000 plus tickets sold on a paid level. So just imagine the revenue coming in to pay for all of that stuff, instead of fighting with sponsors to get $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000, you know, here and there, because that's a hustle. And I was talking to my sister Naima about that too. That's a hustle. Yeah. And it's a constant hustle.
Right.
Yeah. We keep it free down here in Texas. We're located on the east side of Austin, and I'm not sure how many people know how you know, gentrification, and I'm sure everyone's read in the news the gerrymandering in Texas right now, and that's here in Austin. Like, we have a very, very huge problem with that here, and so in order to bring the communities together, we're in the east side, we're free, because we want to make sure that the people in need have these resources, and maybe in the future we might look into putting a fee, but right now, as for the next 5 years, we want to keep it free to make sure the people get the resources that they need, and that's the most important thing for us.
Yeah, ours has been free since the beginning, but I'm always looking for ways. I mean, we have quality products here at these festivals, and I think people recognize the value of them. So I'm trying to figure out, is there a way we can just get people to, and like Omawale was saying, about getting that message across about the fact that these things cost, but in the way that, in a way that makes sense. Is there a way to get a volunteer base just to be donating, $1, $5, but making that a practice so that people understand they're not taxed, they still come get the same beautiful event, but they recognize and acknowledge and support the fact that these are free events, maybe through that donation. Tried that a little this year, a little bit came, but I think if I emphasize it in the right way over the course of the year and years, maybe that will take effect and help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We charge, it's a small amount, like $5 or $10. We started, it was $5. Now I think it's $10, but the level of speakers that you have, you got to pay for speakers coming, their lodging, for their flight. Some speakers, they require certain things. So in order for us to give the community this information and education at the certain level, you're gonna have to, you got to pay for it. So that's what it covers. Yep. To be able to put, it's a lot. You videographer, photographer, AV, tables and tents. Like, you go down your expense sheet. It's a lot of the stuff to cover. So that's what the money that is something else that helps to cover all of those expenses. When if you don't get funding from, like, if you don't get a grant or somebody, it has to come from somewhere. So that's what it covers. But still making it affordable for the community as well. Because people will go and spend, $20 at a restaurant. So, we just keep it at $10. You know what I'm saying? So if kids are free. but people spend 20, 40, $50 at a whole bunch of other places. So it's just, just a small amount.
I don't think it's an issue to charge. I guess depending on your festival, right? Like, but like for Brooklyn, like we had when we had our event at Weeksville, right? Like, say this is just one example, but it really crystallizes it, for us and for our practices. We had ours at Weeksville twice, right? And so, and I'll just give you a little bit of history. Like, Weeksville was the first Black space, Black community, free Black community in Brooklyn, 1838. At that particular time, there were like visionaries, revolutionaries that really went to I was getting feedback. That went to Weeksville, right? And so they went into Weeksville, and this is after Seneca Village. I don't know if people know that Black people were in Seneca Village, and Central Park paved out a way. And these people were actually Black affluent people. This wasn't like poor community or whatever. Most of the people had housing, even the women, you know what I mean, who at the time you're talking about around 1855, right? Between that time, they got them out between 1850 and 1855. So where did they have to go? Because Weeksville was available, Weeksville allowed them to come in, right? And was a place for them to come. And so, but I have so many of these, stories where people who had resources or a little bit of resources still had to open it up to our community. So if we didn't have that, then we wouldn't have anything. So when I look at it, Weeksville is right next to the projects, right? To Kingsborough projects. Now, there's not a good relationship there. It doesn't matter who's watching. Weeksville Heritage Society does not have a great relationship with Kingsborough, houses. And that's because Weeksville doesn't have the same politics that it had in 1838 or 1845. You know what I'm saying? And during that particular time, it's different. And this is what our community is taking on. Our community is taking on this kind of thing where it's like, well, I got to do me and mine. You know what I'm saying? So for us, we had to have that block. And just to put another piece, the police didn't want us to have it there to even include Kingsborough. You know what I'm saying? Houses. So when I take all this history in mindset, and I realize that some people had to really sacrifice for me, monetarily too, just for me to be able to, that's where I'm gonna stand. Can we all do that? I don't think that we all can necessarily do that. You know what I mean? That takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of time. But I have more people who support than I have haters. We got volunteers working right now. You know what I'm saying? Overtime at Black VegFest. They work. I mean, they're gonna come Saturday. They're gonna be here early, and they be here till 7. The event is 12 to 7. You know what I'm saying? They gonna come before 12. They gonna be here at 9. You know what I'm saying? To 7. So we match that. The people who I've called 3 days before, they gonna come with food, and they gonna come with trays and stuff. I ain't my bad being late again. You know what I'm saying? A particular person who does our marketing, they're spending all their time to do our boards, all our signage. You know what I'm saying? So that's a serious investment. You know what I'm saying? That's a serious investment. Can we all do that? Do I believe that everybody does that? So I have a different politic, even in terms of when people get people to go vegan. Some people scream in people's face. We don't scream in people's face. We show people the beauty of the food. We show people the beauty of the struggle. We show people, what resources we have. You know what I mean? And we've gotten back. You know what I'm saying? We don't get back from everyone, but we've gotten back. You know what I'm saying? So, You know, it takes time. It's not gonna be easy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's a deep hole we were in. We just think we were in a little hole. I think sometimes we think we were in a little hole. No, we was in a deep hole.
I could respect the way Omawale has planned out the Black VegFest from the beginning, from at the school all the way to the Weeksville, and what he's doing now. Weeksville is memorable to me because I remember that's when you first launched. I think there was a VIP package there, and then the whole history and the tour of the housing. Like that was really special because me and my husband was out there. I'm not sure if my daughter was out, I don't remember, but I know me and Greg was out there, and we learned. It's a learning experience. So it's not even just the vegan component of it. It's the history, the Black history, which we 100% respect. That was beautiful.
But we got that like monetary support. We got that from a lot of that from your support. Adrian, you know what I'm saying, comes down to Black VegFest our first year, and she like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, man, I got too much. I'm overwhelmed. She was like, let me take this. And that's like our biggest job, to organize vendors. To organize the vendors is like one of the biggest jobs. So she took that like straight off of my plate. Like that year, you know what I'm saying, it was raining crazy. So it's like, you know what I mean? You put in, you know what I'm saying, that kind of work, and then not everybody, but you're going to get some, you know what I'm saying, some awesome people. So
I brought my mother to the first one. My mother and my daughter were at the first one. I remember my mother got a lot out of it because she sat in the auditorium because, like you said, it was raining, and soaked up the presentation. It was just beautiful. Keep doing what you're doing because, like I said, the festivals have a personality, and that's that personality of Black VegFest.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No, thank you guys. This is amazing. I know I missed some of the questions there, but I guess I heard you speaking about the various vendors and businesses, and I know you guys kind of co-share in certain ways. Do you guys partner together to work with a lot of these different vegan vendors? Are there a lot of them across the country that you need to kind of work with or duplicate with?
I think that might be one of the things when Naijha said, like, how do we grow into the future? I think that might be one of the aspects that we will be looking forward to in 2026 and beyond is having that infrastructure to where it's more accessible for vendors to go from, Gulf Coast to East Coast to Gulf Coast and things like that. So right now, I think, we do have some cross, through from event to event. But in the future, I think strengthening that and building it and making it bigger is definitely a goal.
Definitely. No, I can understand that. And speaking about making it bigger, I know the support of partners and sponsors and just the broader plant-based movement is important. But what kind of support do you guys need for your various festivals? Or is it the same across the board?
The funding and the people, I think, is what Wally was saying earlier, which is, definitely.
So funding is the biggest part when thinking about the vegan festivals. Okay, that's good.
But also would be logistics. The like money, as long as if there's money coming in, if it's a paid event, it's the logistical piece that it's just when you get to a certain number of attendees, like it can drive you mentally, physically, emotionally. We've had volunteers really break down because it is a lot. So we already know at that point we have to have a true viable plan to manage the amount of vendors, the amount of attendees, musicians, guest speakers. It's like it takes a lot because I remember, I think the last year I was working with the electrical I don't know about electric. Like, how do I get involved? And you know what I'm saying? So it just becomes this thing like the professionals really got to come in and handle all of that stuff. That's where I know I'm at with it. The professionals got to step in. My husband looks at me like this is a bit much. We got to shift gear on this. This is way too much. So I would say logistics on the end of vegan sofa.
That's a great point. I think just in terms of some of the ideas and some of the festivals might already be doing this, working with like hotels, hotels can help, in terms of like flights. If maybe, funders sometimes want to do creative things, like what could be fun? You know what I mean? Like they could fund that, like getting somebody here. We saying we want to get this particular speaker, and they handle the honorarium, and they handle, like the room, the board, like all of that, transportation, in state, from state to state. If they handle those particular things, in terms of like funding wise, that's helpful. Maybe they want to handle like the promotion, in terms of the online promotion. That's huge for us, any offline, because we also work with a physical, like a graphics, person who does our signage, things of that nature. If they want to take pieces, that's always helpful. They want to be sponsors, because sometimes they just, one of the things I've had an issue with is like they'll do a little bit of work with some Black particular brand, right? Mm-hmm. And I found this personally, like they'll do that. I found this, I say names, it's me. Like Peter will work with some Black folks, and they would totally do that, and ignore Black VegFest. And they know me. They're familiar, but they don't agree with the politics. They don't agree that we should even talk about Black people. They don't agree. And I feel like that's just racist. You know what I'm saying? Like they asked for an article, and then they were like, nah, we don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you looking for an article to appeal to the Black community. You should look for a Black voice who's already working on behalf of the Black community, not not what you want, right? And so this was like some time ago regarding the fur ban, and I'm very much for the fur ban, so just different issues, like their way doesn't necessarily work, but they'll work with some folks who don't raise up the Black community. So I always have an issue, with that when they'll raise up particular issues, because we'll talk to Black community, and then sometimes people will think that we're not on it for all these communities. Like we against injustice. We always gonna be saying free Palestine. We're right now, we're gonna be against, what's happening to Mexicans, what's happening to Venezuelans, or anyone who's just being pushed out of the country in different types of ways, even when they have their paperwork correct. And we don't recognize that. They're not just going after, so-called criminals, they're going after whoever they could basically go after, like, and they're coming after us at the very same way, but it's a little harder to just take us and push us out of the country, because where they going to take us to? Where they're going to, but they'll come up with a solution at some point. So all of these issues are interrelated. They're interrelated, and as soon as we recognize that we can't allow animals to suffer, we can't allow bees to be exploited, because what happens, into our ecosystem. What happens when they destabilize animals, they destabilize us at the very same time. I'm talking about people. So a lot of it takes time, but that's why we have great workshops, like folks, we all do, have workshops, because we're focusing on in different areas. We have different speakers, the performances, all this is, to give people understand. We gotta be palatable. Same way we're not gonna go to homeless people and we're gonna start berating them for not being vegan. You know what I mean? Recognizing that, they got to eat something. Mm-hmm. You have to be tactical in how you go to communities to get people to change their lifestyle with anything in your family. If you're trying to get your family to change anything, you know what I mean? You kind of have to have, a delicate hand. You got to be smart about it, so it's basically work that I think everybody is familiar with here.
Yeah, and just understanding the culture, because a lot of times, people want to dictate, and we see it all around. It ain't even about veganism. When you look at communities and nonprofits coming in on data and statistics, everyone is just up for the grab on, oh, let's pilot this and see how this is gonna affect this community. No, we need more authenticity and real solutions to actual problems. It's bigger than us, but if not us, then who? We got to start somewhere with what we have.
Agreed.
Most definitely. Just final question here, because I just want to wrap up and two final questions. First, I know the next vegan festival coming up is Black VegFest on Saturday. Is there one thing that everybody's excited to see, to hear about, or to experience on Saturday?
Chef Nikki!
All right,
I had on Naijha Speaks today. Go to NaijhaSpeaks.com. Chef Nikki in the house, vegan house of pancakes. She bringing the fat ass cake.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to taste some vegan fat ass cakes. Let's go. What else?
They are so good.
Community, just to be able to be we've been working, how many months now we've been working together as this group. I lost track of time. I think it started March, April or something like that, maybe end of April. And so I did not get to go to Philly Veg Fest. And so this will be my first time on Saturday to be able to see and be with everybody and the coalition since it started. So everyone's getting hugs. And then I'm just so excited to be in the presence of this powerful community that we've created and just get the work done, get the information out, get the resources out while having fun and celebrating and uplifting each other. It's like almost overwhelming. My heart is like so full right now thinking about it. And so, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Gwenna Hunter is going to be there. Founder of the first vegan food bank in Los Angeles. Another one of my
wow.
Wow, nice.
That's that Black woman magic right there. Yes. Hold it down, Black VegFest. We haven't had one at Vegan Soul Fest yet. You're like, you get the crown, man.
No, that's amazing. Matter of fact, I hear that you guys are going to have some people from a little bit of everywhere. We have vendors from across the country, speakers from across the country. I'm excited myself. So any other things? Let's see.
I would say definitely the fact that we'll be on the stage is, as well, communicating directly with people, but I just love when the attendees come and then people, will stop me throughout the entire day and they thanking me, but I'm thanking them because if they didn't even come 2018, I'm telling everybody else, I'm like, listen, people gonna come, trust me, you don't know. And people are like doubtful, you know what I mean? Because like Brooklyn, NYC is real funny, right? Because people, it don't matter, like they gotta be right close to the train. So we close to the train, but still, the first one was like really, really close to the train and we're still close to the train. But you can have all those things, but if it rained, people will disperse and they won't even be there. It rained the hardest it rained in 2018. I checked the almanac. It rained the hardest. And when I still saw people with umbrellas, you know what I mean? I was like overwhelmed. I was so thankful. So when people I'm thankful that they're coming, you know what I mean? So just seeing people, is always incredibly helpful, and I'm glad we're returning back. And this feels like Lincoln Terrace Park is like a home, for us. It feels like a home. So I'm pretty sure the other, organizers also will agree. It's always great when you have one place and you don't have to keep hopping around. Okay. When you don't have to keep hopping around and you're comfortable somewhere, like that's perfect.
Yeah, we missed the college when we was at BCCC, Baltimore City Community College. That was like the best 3 years, being on a whole campus, inside out. So I feel you when you're saying that,
Mhm.
Omawale.
Yeah, I hear you. That's why I was so happy to be back on Bainbridge Green this year. So we're finally back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, all this searching every year. No, that's not good.
Back in
Yeah,
I
the-
lost
back in the home
sound for a little
territory.
while.
Yeah. I like that word, Richard.
Can you hear
home.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Yeah, I
Richard.
lost sound for a little while, but what I'm looking forward to this Saturday is getting us all together in one place. It was amazing. It'll just be good just to move forward, see all the faces, and have us on stage talking about the Federation, and then just enjoying everything that Black VegFest has to offer because it's a great time. So if you haven't been, get there. If you have been, get back there. Yeah.
And I would be amiss in not mentioning our panel discussion with you guys on the stage during Black VegFest on Saturday. Does any hints to what we're going to be talking about on Saturday? I think you're on mute, Richard, if you're talking.
I'm laughing and talking to myself. That conversation, that could go anywhere, just like this one, but it'll be good. It'll be rich.
All right. Well, you know what? Honestly, I can't wait to see you guys on the main stage on Saturday because honestly, you guys were a conversation in itself. And I know once we're in the festival vibes, we're going to have even more energy. So I know everybody can't wait for this panel discussion. Thank you guys all for joining today, and
Little
make
kids.
sure that and everyone, please make sure that you come join the larger movement on Saturday, August 9th at Lincoln Terrace Park from 12 to 7 so that you can meet the Vegan Federation of the Vegan Festival Federation all in one place.
The Federation of Vegan Festivals.
The Federation. Okay,
Yes.
let me do this over again. So you can meet the Federation of Vegan Festivals all in one place on Saturday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go to blackvegfest.org.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for coming out, and I will see you guys on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right.
We want to stay and talk?
Meeting you where you are. The meaning behind the slogan is that we meet the community where they are. On their journey towards holistic health, a plant-based lifestyle, and veganism, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually. We do this through people, food, events, and culture. Our 6 pillars are earth, eating, education, empowerment, enlightenment, and events. We